Alicia, and today I am bringing my horses home from being evacuated a couple weeks back. As I'm sure you all know or have heard, even if you're not in the country, Australia has had the worst bushfires we've ever had in history. They are absolutely massive in size. There is multiple. They are joining up and creating like monster fires. Literally half our country is on fire, so it's been absolutely horrible. We were in the safe for a while, like when they started months back. They weren't anywhere near us, but we had one pop up north of us, and which wasn't too much of a worry for us because to get to us it had to go through multiple towns. It grew and grew and grew, and then we had one pop up south of us down a mountain. And the issue with the one down south is that the only thing it has between us, like our house, and where it started is bush, because it had already burnt through all the towns down there, and to get to us it just had to climb a mountain and go up through a national park, which it did. So we knew that we had high fire danger. We've had ridiculous weather with 40 °C days on top of really, really windy days. The fires have been insane, and before I went away to the Gold Coast to work the Magic Million sales, my town had a fire meeting with the RFS where they pretty much told us we can't put it out. It is too out of control. It is too much for the firefighters to be able to control. So we just had to prepare for the worst, which meant planning an evacuation plan, which we were pretty much warned that it's gonna reach us unless we get a big downfall of rain, which we are still yet to have. So we decided to evacuate the horses before I went away, as my parents aren't horsey, so getting them on the float would not be the easiest, and just getting horses on the float when you're in a rush is just obviously a hard thing to do anyway. So before I left for Queensland, we moved my horses a couple towns over to a paddock with no grass at all, just dirt, which is good for if a fire was to come through, where around here we still do have a bit of grass, even though we are also currently in the worst drought on record for Australia. We're not really having a good time here in Australia. But my property still has grass, and the paddocks that the horses were on at our place as well had a decent amount of grass. So we moved them near my nan's where it was just dirt. There were trees so they could shelter, but they could also get away from the trees if they were to burn. And that town was not under fire danger as much as ours was. So the horses have currently been there for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm bringing them home today. But that's not where our fire story really ended. While I was away, I was keeping in contact with my parents and was talking to mum and dad throughout like the time I was there. And there was one day in particular that was supposed to be really bad. Luckily for us, it did not spread at that time. But it got to like 9 o'clock at night, and my parents got a message saying that it is not expected to reach our area, meaning our area as a whole, so not just my town, but like the, how do I refer to it without saying where I live? It is not supposed to reach our region, you know, our council area. Mum and dad weren't sleeping anyway because they were staying up on the balcony because of the winds and stuff, looking for embers or anything to put out spot fires. But yeah, they were pretty much sent a message like, don't worry, you're fine, it shouldn't reach here tonight. So they then get a message at 11 PM at night saying this town, this town, this town, stay alert. Which doesn't mean it's here, but it just means be alert, be ready. And my mum and dad were like, well, do we leave? What do we do? I don't know what to do. They're panicking. We had everything packed already. Like, we've been prepared for ages. I had my bags of valuables packed. And then literally 2 minutes later, they get a message saying, if you live here, here, or here, it is too late to leave. Seek shelter. Mum and Dad chose to leave because where we are, my town where we are, we're in the furthest away from where the fire is in my town. So, you know, like we're at the other end of my town compared to where the fire is. And we're not far from the highway. So Mum and Dad grabbed all the animals, the bags were already packed in the cars, and they drove to my auntie's place in a nearby town that was not under threat of a fire. They stayed away from our house for 2 days and luckily came back to it standing. And the reason they had little to no notice about the fire is because it just rapidly changed. It was like it spread like crazy. It was nowhere near us really. It was a threat, obviously, that's why they were prepared and everything was packed and the horses were out a few days before, but because of the wind change, it just flew up the mountain, and because there's just trees to light it, it just spread like crazy. It has stopped at a certain stage. It is still very, very close to where we are. It was quite sad for other people because the wind then changed and took out a nearby town, took out about half of it. We're extremely lucky. I'm so happy that we're fine, and with the weather we've had lately, it's been quite cool. We haven't had those really hot days. It hasn't been windy, so the firefighters are working on containment lines and trying to control the fire. Neither of the fires near us are under control. They are still hundreds of thousands of hectares large, but it is a positive sign for us at the moment. It's been really hard for other people, I know, and I'm really sorry to all those people that have lost their homes. I know quite a few people that live around here that have lost their whole homes, and it's just really sad, and I don't know how people can deal with that, because just going through the moment when I woke up that morning and looked at the RFS app of the fires near me and saw how close it was to my house compared to the night before, because it literally, like, it was ridiculous how much it grew. Just seeing that in the morning, I was like, oh my god. And I messaged Mum straight away. I was like, are you, like, what's happened? Are you guys okay? And that's when Mum told me that they evacuated, which is scary enough in its own, to have to be evacuated and to be told it's too late to leave your house. Our current situation is the wind is going in our favour, and the RFS are working so hard night and day to control these fires. A lot of our local shows, for obvious reasons, have been cancelled, so I don't know when I'm going to be competing next. It's not really a big worry for me right now, honestly, but just so you guys know, for the next month or two, a lot of, like, majority of the shows around here have been cancelled. My area as well has been covered in smoke for I don't even know how long, honestly, months. We don't have ash falling from the sky anymore. We don't have dead burnt leaves falling from the sky. It's not thick black smoke anymore. It's just like, I'll show you guys in a sec. It looks like, I know it looks amazing honestly right now compared to what it has been. It's just smoke, like a light coloured smoke in the sky. You just can't see blue sky, which is the best it's been for ages. We haven't seen blue sky in months, but that's just become the normal thing for us. At least I can go outside, and I currently don't smell smoke, which is great. I got really sick before I went away because I work outside, so I was just working in smoke and inhaling thick smoke. And it was obviously, and they said like it was like smoking a pack of cigarettes or something like that a day. I'll show you our place at the moment, but yeah, pretty much we're hoping for rain, because that's the only thing that's going to put out these fires is rain, and a lot of it, which we are actually kind of, oh hey, the animals were so stressed when they had to be evacuated, the poor things, like the cats, just because, you know, they were in a strange place, and it was just, you know, obviously different and hard for them to get used to it, so they're all so happy to be home. This is our sky at the moment, which is awesome. It's just very, very, very light, pretty much white smoke. It looks almost like fog, but it's not, and this is the best it's been in ages, which is really great. And as you can see, this is how dry we are. Obviously better than most places. We actually have grass. It's just dead, but a lot of places are dirt, and I know that. It's just dead. But yeah, so The plan is for this afternoon to bring my 2 horses back home, as we are not under fire threat or danger, and because I can finally walk outside and not smell smoke and it's not hard to breathe or anything like that, it means I can actually start bringing them back into work, because they've both been out of work for ages now and I don't like leaving Jep out of work for too long because she's old. So I'll bring them home today, give them both a lunge, and they'll probably be lunged for a week, and then I'll hop back on them. Maybe Jep will be lunged a bit longer because she's older, but we'll see how we go. So let's bring the horses home. Biscuit will loosen to Jep once I grab Kai. Ready to go home, ponies? Hello. You're both so dirty. Oh, look at your face. You're so dusty. Dusty and dirty.
And Mike's already put water in.
Come in. You're home. You're home. Yeah. Kai is back. For those wondering why I didn't take them both together, it's because we have a straight load float and Jep doesn't go well on the straight, so when she's on it we have to put the divider to the side, otherwise she just can't quite get her balance and she scrambles, and that actually came from a bad floating experience with another horse. So she went, not one of mine obviously, because Kai's a saint to float, because we have taught him all of his floating stuff, so he's really super good and stands perfectly. But she had a bad experience where she went on a straight load float with a friend's horse of mine, and that horse scrambled like crazy and just gave her a horrible experience, and ever since then she hasn't been able to be on a straight load. I think she just panics and yeah, just stresses herself out. So when we do float her, we put her like with the divider, because we can move our divider, we just put the bottom of the divider to the side, so she has a lot of leg room for her hind end, and she floats perfectly like that. It's a bit of a pain, but it's better for herself because this way she doesn't have to stress and work herself up over something so silly. When we evacuated them both, we did put them on together, because I thought maybe if she was with a horse like Kai, who is really calm on the float and just stands there, she'll be okay. So I drove behind so I could see what she did, and she just still struggled and scrambled quite a bit. Kai was a saint, he just stood like a brick wall. But we're about to go back and get Jep now. Jeppy's turn. Hi. Hello. Hi. Good girl. Hold them. Because I believe they are, keep going, she stretches down and then she slows down, so I'm just trying to work on letting her stretch but keeping the forward momentum. Good girl. She'll only give little moments of it, but it's not like she's trotting around with her head up in the air like a giraffe either. She's relaxed, she's in a good spot, and I'm happy with how she's working pretty much all the time while she's on the lunge. And it's just her finding her spot. I'm not doing anything to, you know, bring her head down low like she is. It's because it's comfortable and it's a nice stretch for her. So she's doing it herself. I don't mind where her head is. It's still in a good spot. And she'll lower when she wants to. Canter. Good girl. She's been out of work, so she's a bit lazy. Come on. Good girl. And trot. Good girl. Not doing much canter. Just little transitions, little moments of, she's still a bit wet as I just washed her, and I just wanted her to dry by lunging her, So I'm obviously doing Kai in the paddock. Good boy, it's a bit of trot. Bit more. Good boy. Kai, good boy. Good boy. And Trot. Good boy. He's also a lot like Jep in the way where he prefers a low contact, so he'd prefer his head on the ground than in an uphill, you know, correct, I guess, contact. So under saddle he'd literally will just trot around with his nose on the ground. Like, he's so good. As soon as you ask him to do long and low, he's like, okay, and he'll just drop his head and do it so nicely. And he's starting to bring his head up a bit more in the contact, like under saddle, and it's getting a bit more consistent. But it's just building that muscle memory and building that little brain of his. Don't mind me, I'm just taking off my shoes. Hey Charlie. Hi. Hi. So yeah, I was so happy with both horses. Like, they've had so much time. Both of, like, Kai's had 2 months off, as I said, Jep's had 1. And they were perfect, didn't put a foot wrong on the lunge, behaved absolutely beautifully. And yeah, so I guess I'll see you guys next week, and I can't say too much, but I definitely would not, hey Willow, I definitely would not miss next week's video. And I'm not just saying that because I think you'll like it. I know you guys will like it, and I know you guys would be just as excited as I am right now for it. Wouldn't they, Willow? Come here. Wouldn't they, Willow? Yeah. Oh. Yes, they're my dirty socks. I wouldn't be sniffing those. So we'll see you next week. Bye!